colleagues. I'm just looking to my left here. I'd like to welcome everybody to this evening's Cabinet meeting. This meeting is being streamed live to Cheltenham Borough Council's YouTube channel and recorded for training purposes. If you make a representation to the meeting, you are consenting to the use of those sound recordings for broadcasting and training purposes. For housekeeping, we are not expecting a fire alarm test, so if the alarm does sound, can we leave by the appropriate exits. I'd also like to welcome any members that are watching this evening on YouTube. Apologies, first of all. We do have apologies from Councillor Hay, who's not currently with us, which is why I'm sat in this chair. I think we all know why Councillor Hay's not with us this evening, and we wish her a speedy return. Declaration of interest. Any member got any declaration of interest? Fantastic. Minutes of the last meeting. Are there any comments? I know the meeting was held on the 20th of December, so can we have any show of hands, please, members, if you support those minutes? Thank you very much. I'll sign those off. We've got no questions from the members of the public or members this evening, and I believe we've got no referrals from Council over and Scrutiny Committee or other committees. So we're straight into the meat and potato of the meeting, onto reports. And agenda item number 5 is the Housing Revenue Account Business Plan. I'll hand over to Councillor Atherton.
Thank you, Chair. Firstly, I'd just like to say a huge thanks to our Housing Commissioner and colleagues at Cheltenham Borough Homes for their outstanding work preparing such a strong and inspiring Housing Revenue Account business plan. The long-term vision for our 5-year business plan is to build a better future for Cheltenham by providing great homes and stronger communities. This plan will ensure there are more affordable and increasingly sustainable homes available, that council tenants live in high-quality homes with excellent services, and that communities are supported to increase opportunity and resilience. This is underpinned by the need to ensure the ongoing viability of the HRA and the council's ambition for Cheltenham to be carbon net zero by 2030. The proposal of our HRA business plan is also set against the challenging backdrop of the UK economy, with the most significant cost of living crisis in a generation and soaring energy costs. Inflation in 2022 increased to 11.1%, and the Bank of England base rate raised to 3.5%. The HRA business plan has been developed in partnership with Cheltenham Borough Homes and in consultation with tenants and a wide range of stakeholders. It has also been shaped by the Council's latest corporate plan and set in the context of significant regulatory change following on from the government's social housing white paper and economic challenges arising from COVID-19 pandemic, the war in Ukraine, and subsequent cost of living crisis, the subsequent cost of living crisis. Our HRA business plan sets out how we will support our tenants and their families to live in well-maintained and sustainable homes that are safe, secure, and of a high quality. It also sets out how we will increase the provision of affordable homes by delivering an additional 450 affordable homes over the next 5 years, in line with our corporate plan. CBH has a record of high-quality delivery and tenant satisfaction, making a huge difference to the lives of thousands of people across the town. Progress against our HRA business plan, both in terms of meeting targets and key activities, will be reported to Cabinet and to Council annually via the HRA budget setting process. The Housing Revenue Account is a ring-fenced account within the Council, which is used for transactions relating to Cheltenham's council homes. All of the income generated from our council homes has to be kept in the Housing Revenue Account and used for the purpose of maintaining and investing in existing homes, building new homes, and delivering service to tenants and leaseholders. The aims and priorities over the next 5 years set out in this business plan are modelled over a 30-year term to understand the financial impacts of the investment aspirations within this plan and to ensure that the HRA remains financially viable. The assumptions within the model are updated annually as part of the budget setting process. This financial model is also used to stress test the HRA to understand the key financial risks which need to be managed in both the medium and long term to ensure the HRA remains viable. Over the next 5 years, the Council is proposing to invest £225 million into the following priorities. £97 million to increase delivery of affordable homes, including new net zero homes. £64 million to improve existing homes, including investments to make homes net zero. £30 million to provide homes that are safe and well maintained. £21 million to provide efficient and accessible housing services. £21 million to support strong and socially sustainable communities. In order to deliver against our priorities, CBH will continue to drive value for money, deliver high performance and satisfaction levels whilst maintaining costs and achieving tenant satisfaction measures. I'd like to ask Cabinet today to approve the recommendation as set out in the report, which is to approve the strategy as set out in the HRA Business Plan 2023 to 2028 and as detailed in Appendix 2 of this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Atherton. Any member? Any questions or any observations? No, I will chip in actually, because I've seen a couple of these business plans develop over the years, and it's really pleasing to see embedded in this, even though we talk about high figures and lots of money and lots of priorities, actually is embedded into this, right throughout this document, again, are our tenants and our communities. And I think that's a fantastic testament to CBH's culture in that it puts those tenants and our communities front and centre. So thank you, Councillor Atherton. So, colleagues, I call for a show of hands in support of this report and the recommendations. Thank you very much. I'll move on to agenda item 6, Housing Revenue Account, revised forecast of the 2022 budget and budget for 2023 and 2024. So I'm not intending to give a big speech this evening, because this report we head into full council on Monday, if agreed tonight, colleagues. And I'm sure we're all aware of the financial turmoil within our national economy and the pressures this has placed on our housing revenue account. And that deals with the report, and Councillor Atherton has mentioned some in the speech to the last report. What is also in the report, and it's one additional item which didn't go out with the consultation, so I think it is worth noting at this meeting, and that's detailed at 5.5. And that's that Cheltenham has been allocated £2.36 million from the government's local authority housing fund. This is for the provision of more affordable homes in support of our refugee guests, predominantly those from Ukraine and Afghanistan. Now, the total cost in providing these homes, you'll read in the paperwork, is an estimated to be around £6 million. And the government has given us a list of criteria which we'll have to work within, notably the condensed timescales for the provision of these homes. But I do know that our officers from Cheltenham Borough Council and Cheltenham Borough Homes are already working on this at some speed. Anyway, with there being no major additions to what we agreed to at consultation, I'm happy to recommend this report to you, and I'll happy to take any questions, colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to put on record my thanks to you as the Cabinet Member and to the officers for the exceptional work that has gone into this project. I think this is an incredible challenge to be taking on under incredible circumstances, and so many councils across the country have buckled under the pressure, and Cheltenham Borough Council, with its long-term strategy to ensure that our services are constantly protected by a really robust investment strategy, it's pulled a really impressive job here. I really look forward to it going to council, and I think it should get, or one can only hope, unanimous support given the quality of the report and the recommendations made. So thank you, Cabinet Member and officers.
Thank you, Councillor Lewis. Any other member? On that note, I'd like to see a show of hands in response to the recommendations as they're laid out. Thank you, colleagues. Agenda item 7. This is the final General Fund Revenue and Capital Budget proposals for 2023 to 2024 and the quarterly budget monitoring report. So, again, as I mentioned in the last report, I'm not going to give a long speech this evening, although I am preparing a much longer speech for our council meeting a week yesterday, I think it was, so not long. Colleagues, we will be acutely aware of our budget pressures. I think we've faced throughout the year quite significant pressures, especially given the budget monitoring reports that I've presented here over the last 12 months. I'm sure there'll be an interesting debate at full council meeting on the economic conditions we're all witnessing, so I'm not going to dwell on them at this meeting. I think the challenge we face is that our budget proposals need to be balanced, and as I mentioned when we agreed these proposals for consultation, due to the extreme economic turmoil, the size of the financial gap that this has created, and we're in effect having to use every financial tool at our disposal. The budget report and the associated paperwork before you this evening demonstrates how we will be achieving this, whilst at the same time making sure our resources are available to deliver the priorities we are delivering for our town. Now, on the positive note that we're actually delivering on our priorities, I commend the report to you and I'm happy to take any questions from any member. Councillor Wilkinson.
Thank you, Leader. Just one comment, it's not a question. Hate to be the guy who makes the comment rather than the question. But I would echo what Councillor Lewis said in the previous debate, but I would also add the important point that while governments are allowed to run budget deficits for indefinite periods of time, local councils aren't, and our budget does have to balance every single year, as I understand it, which means that we have a much greater challenge than I think the government does, albeit their challenge is on a bigger geographical scale.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkinson. Yes, I've been in our parks and gardens and I cannot find Cheltenham's magic money tree, I can contest. If there's no other member... Oh, sorry, yes. Councillor Lucas.
Just a brief question, Chair. Looking through the report in relation to council tax, can I just confirm something, which is that a Band D property will have a council tax increase of £6.70. That's not a day, not a week, not a month, but a year. That's just under 13 pence a week, I think. Can I just confirm that that is the accurate figure through to the finance officer, Chair? Because 13 pence a week, when I look at what's happening in other councils, is absolutely astonishing for a council that does what we do here in Cheltenham. And congratulations have already been made to you and officers for the work that is done. But actually, I think it's absolutely fantastic. And I just want to say a big thank you for that, because we know people can't afford the sort of monies that many councils are having to charge.
Thank you, Councillor Lucas. From my understanding, the example you're quoting there is Cheltenham Borough Council's proportion of the council tax, and it is, we use Band D as an example, so clearly there's going to be rises across the council tax band, but that's the example used, and yes, that's Cheltenham's portion of the council tax.
13 pence a week.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lucas. If there's no other comments from any other member, can I have a show of hands in support of the recommendations as laid out in the report? Thank you, colleagues. We're on to agenda item 8. I'm sorry to hold the meeting, but this is the award of rent support grants to voluntary sector organisations. Now, colleagues, as part of Cheltenham Borough Council's wider ambitions to support a thriving voluntary and community sector, this council enables for those groups to rent its properties. Community organisations in council and buildings is nothing new. The challenge, however, has been, as this council has been on its commercialisation journey, how do we continue to support these groups? We do this through a rent support grant scheme, which was first devised, I believe, in 2016. Effectively, community organisations can receive a percentage discount on the commercial rent by demonstrating how their organisations, through the use of the building, contributes to this council's agreed priorities. Now, we know that appropriate rent support to community-based organisations and services can support the viability of such organisations and the services they provide to the benefit of our communities and the well-being of our town. However, the Council will continue to encourage voluntary community sector organisations to become more self-sufficient and less reliant upon financial support from the Council where possible. But the Rent Support Grant scheme is there for the benefit of organisations themselves, which in turn supports our communities. Now, this report details the application submissions from Harvest Field Church and also the 10th Cheltenham Scouts. Both applications have been assessed and reviewed, and I trust College have been able to read the report and will support the applications as detailed in the report. I'm happy to take any questions and or comments, colleagues. Well, that was really good. Can I have a show of hands to see whether you support the recommendations as laid out? Thank you, colleagues. Next on the agenda, I believe it's briefing sessions. So I'll go around the room. Councillor Hallwood. No, Councillor Lewis. Councillor Lewis.
I'd just quickly like to put on record my congratulations to the climate team for our fantastic new climate decision wheel being nominated for a really quite prestigious local government innovation award, and I'm delighted for them, and I'm delighted to see how this document significantly changes the way we make decisions at Cheltenham. So congratulations to the officers, and congratulations to Alex Wells, who is our officer who's currently leaving for a very exciting new job. So congratulations all round for the department.
Thank you. Councillor Clucas, have you anything this evening?
Just briefly, it was great to be here this week for the Climate Youth Survey report back. And it was lovely to hear what those youngsters were doing, what they were saying. And I have to say, I was quite surprised that they were so astonished at being invited into what is their council chamber. So I hope that the work we've begun will continue over time, and we will be doing some other work with them to make sure that what is happening here is actually translatable to other places, and not just in the UK, but I hope in Europe too. In addition to that, obviously we're continuing our work with the detached youth work service that we are providing, something which obviously the county should be doing and isn't. And I would like just to take a second to mention a young boy whose name is Sam. And Sam is a pupil at National Star College. And through Sam, there is the potential to redesign the National Disability Badge. And that, I hope, will be reported on and decided on during the course of this next week. And I can say here and now that there is already a school in another part of the country that is so delighted with what's being proposed, they're going to adopt it. So already we're seeing some of our youngsters here significantly changing the potential for others in other parts of the country. And I'd just like to say congratulations, Sam. Great job.
Thank you, Councillor Clucas. Councillor Aston.
Thank you, Chair. Just one update from me today, which is really good news, in that through partnership work, Cheltenham Borough Homes has been working with Claire Seed from Public Hearts campaign, which basically supports the installation of new life-saving defibrillators. So we have 2 new on the circuit, and being on the circuit means that it's 24/7 accessible. So it's installed on an outside wall so that anybody passing by has access to it. And the 2 new locations are Hester's Way Community Resource Centre and Cheltenham Borough Homes Swindon Road office. So if anyone wants to find out where their local defibrillator is, check out the circuit website. But yeah, really great news. And that's just the beginning of the journey we're on with Claire, and hope to get many more rolled out across the town. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Atherton. Councillor Dobie. I think Councillor Wilkinson.
Thank you, Leader. One thanks and one short update, which is a positive story. The thanks goes to the team at the Holst Birthplace Museum. They invited me in and gave me a tour last month, and I very much enjoyed it. And they're looking forward to the Holst 150 celebrations next year. which is a key priority for the Culture Board. Another is a story about what happened when 4th Cheltenham Guides came for Parliament Week to this chamber. It was a few months ago now, but I can update you on what happened at the end of it, which is really important. We did a session on the importance of democracy and the importance of Parliament and the importance of local democracy, what we do here and what happens in Westminster. Then we had a vote under single transferable vote system, and animal rights was their chosen topic of concern. So we worked together on a letter which we sent to the Minister with responsibility for animal rights. That's Lord Benyon. And I'm pleased to say that Lord Benyon sent a very positive response with thanks to the Cheltenham 4th Guides as a result of their lobbying, which just goes to show that no matter how small you think your voice might be as a local group, actually you can use the democratic system to lobby people at any level and get a response from government. And I think it just shows that sometimes the system does work. And additionally, we were able to get some specific questions about animal rights raised in the House of Lords on behalf of Cheltenham 4th Guides. So their voice has been heard. I know they're really proud of themselves and pleased with the outcome, and I am too. So thank you very much to Lord Benyon, and thank you very much to Lord Shipley too, and thanks to Cheltenham 4th Guides for coming into this chamber and finding out all about democracy.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkinson. Councillor Collins.
Yes, thank you, Leader. As part of my responsibilities in my Cabinet portfolio, that includes the Golden Valley Development, and myself, along with our Head of Comms for the Golden Valley Development, Gethin Evans, we were invited to do a presentation at the University of Gloucestershire last week as part of the National Apprenticeship Week, which was really interesting. Our presentation was very well received by all those present, and these were people from academia, business, apprenticeship providers, and it was also very interesting to listen to some of the other speakers, actually, because it was quite fascinating hearing about people's life experiences and how they ended up where they are today. So, as I say, it was very well received, and the Golden Valley Development is truly on the map, and it's generating a lot of interest from outside of this area, which is excellent.
Thank you, Councillor Collins. Thank you, colleagues, for those briefings. Now we move on to section 7 of our Cabinet papers, and this is decisions by Cabinet members. So forgive me, this is my first time doing this. I'm going to go around in date order. So if you've got more than one, please can you hold each one. So first of all, I've got on the 20th of December, Councillor.
Thank you, Deputy Leader. Yes, this decision I mentioned actually at the last Cabinet, but this was the moving to publication for consultation of a graffiti policy or revised graffiti policy. And I'm pleased to report as well that we've had a very good response to the consultation so far. That has included a very helpful response from Andy Dice-Davis of the Cheltenham Paint Festival, which is an astonishing event which attracts international artists to Cheltenham and has made some parts of this town look almost like an art gallery at times, and all the better for that. And the policy distinguishes between that kind of positive street art, which really can lift an area, and the antisocial and unwelcome graffiti and tagging, which I'm afraid is a blight on some buildings and parts of town, and particularly prioritises offensive and threatening graffiti. So it's quite a nuanced policy, and we have had a good response, and a refined version of that policy will come back to the April meeting of this Cabinet. Thank you, Deputy Leader.
Thank you, Councillor Horwood. Councillor Doby.
No, I think we covered those last time.
Wilkinson.
Thank you, Deputy Leader. I took a decision to undertake a conservation management plan for Pittville Pump Room. This is a piece of work that we were advised we should do by Historic England in a recent visit to Cheltenham, and I look forward to seeing what comes out of it and how that contributes to the long-term success of the Pittville Pump Room.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkinson. I also took a couple of decisions. One was mid-January to accept a tender for the provision of decoration works to Cheltenham council-owned properties. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. I also took a decision to approve the income bands for the council tax support scheme. Colleagues may remember that that was delegated to myself. So obviously when we knew what the government uplifts to relevant benefits were, we could change our income bands for that support scheme. So that's the decisions. I believe that is everything I've got on my agenda for the meeting. Oh, thank you. I knew there'd be something, and this is it. There was an urgent waiver. So when these contract waivers take place, we have to announce them and so forth at the right time. This is a waiver dated 18th of January, prepared by our Green Space Manager. It was for a contract for surfacing of existing footpaths with compacted Cotswold stone on the Campden Hill. So there was an urgent need to take this waiver, and that's what I've just announced. Thank you, colleagues. On that note, I shall declare this evening's meeting